Just the other day, our Premier of New South Wales, Gladys, announced that in the near future, she would allow picnics for at least 5 people of small groups. The reason she gave was that it is important for the mental health to have an opportunity to gather around food. And that's very true. It is not enough to have the so-called healthy food to eat. It also matters how we eat the food. God has created us as social beings. Therefore, even when we eat for our nourishment, it has to be in the context of a social reaching out, interaction, and celebration sometimes, especially in special occasions. So, food is important not only for physical health, but also for mental and social well-being. These are not the only 2 dimensions of food as. For a pious Jew, he could see that food is another way to honor God. The one who has created life and created us has given us food for our nourishment, and that providence needs to be honored. Over the years, they developed customs and practices and rituals to honor God by the way they ate food, with ritual washing and cleansing and so on. But what happened was, as the years went, the rituals were very meticulously observed, but the purpose for the rituals were forgotten. Honoring God was no more the priority. Details of the rituals became so much important, they literally hung on them. So here Jesus says, for the spiritual growth, for the true devotion, to honor God, you need to be true to God and charitable to others. Without that truthfulness within ourselves, we cannot honor God. So that was a wake-up call for those pious Pharisees and others who were too much bogged down by the rituals. Reading this, we Christians may say, yeah, that's the problem they had. We are not like that. We may not worry about cleansing ourselves ritually and following the food laws. But Christians also could get caught up in this kind of ritualism. You know, at the time of Jesus, this issue of following the food laws was not so much of an issue as the time when it was written, because Jesus preached only to the Jewish people who observed the laws without questioning, and they still could honor God. But a few decades later, when Mark's Gospel was written, there was this issue of Jewish food laws, because many of the converts were Greeks or pagans, non-Jewish people. in a mixed community, they started to ask the question, do we have to observe the Jewish law? And to that, this early Christian community who knew the mind of Jesus interpreted Jesus' mind to the situation and discerned a solution for it. Similarly, we too, in our time, will have to discern solutions to various practices and things, knowing Jesus' mind, and we should not be timid about that. In our practice, though we may not follow, or we don't need to follow ritual cleansing and food laws, and we are happy about it, there could be other things that might need some attention. If our piety is very cultural, like touching the icons or kissing the statues are a religious practice and we keep it, yet ethics and morality may not be much of a thought and concern for one, then it may look like a pious behavior, but it won't honor God or get any favor from God. Without such a purity of the heart and aspiration for God, even if you decorate your house with a million religious pictures or the most beautiful prayer space, it all will be in vain. Our true love for God needs to come from our heart and needs to be shown forth in our charity and our honesty. We need to be true to God and charitable to one another or others. So this gospel passage on this Sunday is inviting us to look into ourselves and see whether we are wasting our God-given time on any kind of rituals that does not take us any closer to God or honor other people. God bless you.